All right, Dragon Brood, it looks like day 10 here of release, or previews, I should say, not really release, has now shown all the remaining cards, and that gives us mostly a bunch of commons to round out the set. So we should be able to go through these pretty quickly. And I'm debating if I'm going to be able to get out a video going over commander cards, but we'll see how that goes. I might make that a level 2 video for YouTube members, potentially, but we'll see. Crumb and Get It, which is an amazing name. It's 1 white for an instant. You can gift a food. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If the gift was promised, that creature also gains indestructible until end of turn. This is a cool little useful card. I mean, getting +2/+2 is okay. It's not crazy, but it can save a creature. And you can give something indestructible by giving your opponent a food. So this is a possibility. I don't think we'll see a lot of play, honestly. But it's a possibility in a world where maybe something like the mice want another thing to protect a creature or whatever. Intrepid Rabbit, a 3 mana, 3/2 rabbit soldier with offspring 1, so that's cool. Offspring's only 1. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Okay, well that's why. This is mostly just a limited card, but it is cool that you can give 2 things +1/+1 and get a 3/2 and a 1/1, but probably not playing this in Constructed. Dazzling Denial, a colorless and a blue for an instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2 colorless. If you control a bird, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 colorless instead. Alright, so this is cool. This is just like a mana leak where your opponent has to pay 2 more. Or if you have a bird, they have to pay 4 more. Yeah, this is a reasonable counter to play. And obviously if you're playing birds, then you go for it on this one. Dire Downdraft. 3 colorless and a blue for an instant that costs 1 less to cast if it targets an attacking or tapped creature. So generally, probably going to cost you 3 mana instead of 4. Target creature's owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. So for 3 mana, you get an instant that can put something on top or bottom, but the owner gets to choose. I mean, we'd play this if we have to. But if you're pairing blue with either white, black, or red, most likely, I guess frogs would be green. But I think we have other options. I can just get rid of the thing. Yeah, since it's a creature, there's a bunch of stuff just kills creatures. I don't think we're playing this. Shore Up. Target creature you control gets +1/+1, gains hexproof to end a turn, untap it. We just had this card. So yeah, it was playable then, it's probably still playable now. Skyskipper Duo, 4 colorless and a blue for a 3/3 frog. So it's 5 mana for a 3/3 frog bird flying. When it enters, exile up to 1 other target creature you control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it does the frog thing of blinking something out. You end up with a 3/3 flyer. Probably not playing. The cost is too high on this one, I think, for what you get. Bonebind Orator. Colorless and a black for a 2/2 Squirrel Warlock Bard. You can pay 4, so 3 colors and a black. You exile this card from your graveyard. Return another target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, in limited, I like it. Gives me a chance to just buy back another creature, put it in my hand. Constructed, I think there's going to be better squirrel things we're going to be able to do for 2 mana. Daggerfang Duo, 2 colorless and a black for a 3/2 rat squirrel with death touch. When it enters, you can mill 2 cards. This maybe can make the cut depending on how heavily you need to fill your graveyard. Because 3/2 death touch for 3 is just meh, it's okay. If you really need to fill your graveyard, most likely with squirrels, but it does also fit the rat thing because you can try to be reaching threshold. I'll say fringe cases it's playable, but not generally. Ravine Raider, 1 black for a 1/1 lizard rogue with menace. Colorless and a black. Ravine Raider gets +1/+1 till end of turn. This looks like something you probably wouldn't play, but a 1/1 with menace in a deck like Lizards that care about getting a point of damage off your opponent every turn, this could be playable. Now, the other ability does have a little bit of upside. Like, you could force some bad blocks to your opponent, take out something they don't want to give up, which is kind of cool. But yeah, this might just be playable, actually. Saver, colorless, and a black. Instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 to end of turn. You create a food. I'll say this. If we end up in a world in Standard where a lot of the creatures tend to be smaller, then this becomes a fine card to play. And it creates a food, so obviously the squirrels like it, right? You may even play it anyway, because as a combat trick, like they block one of your 2/2s, you can still take out a 4/4. That's fine. So yeah, there's some upside to this. I wouldn't write this one off. It has some uses. Roughshod Duo, 2 colorless and a red for a 3/2 with trample. Whenever you expend 4, target creature you control gets +1/+1 against trample to end turn. I don't think we're playing this. I think we have better 3 costs. Raccoons, this isn't particularly a thing that you would want to be doing in a mouse deck, because you're trying to go fast and small. You may not even have 4 things you want to cast in 4 mana's worth of things you want to cast in a turn. So yeah, probably not, which is a shame because the artwork on this is really, really cool, but probably not anything we're going to be playing. Sizecap's Brew, colorless and a red for an instant. Gift a tapped fish. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you can discard a card. Target player draws 2 cards. If a gift was promised, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Wow, there's a lot happening here. So you can just discard to draw, which is fine, right? And well, you draw 2, but we have some variation of this, and it's an instant. But if you give your opponent a fish, you could also give a creature +2/+0. Generally speaking, I would say this is probably just fine as a replacement for any of those other cards that, discard 1, draw 2, but it does have upside. So if you're playing those other things, there's a chance you would play this. Where we have Heaped Harvest, 2 colorless and a green for an artifact food. When it enters and when you sacrifice it, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. You can pay 2 and sacrifice Heaped Harvest, you gain 3 life, because it's a food. This one I kind of like. It's kind of low-key interesting because it's a ramp spell that could also buy you time to get to the land you want, right? Because we already have several types of land ramp things that, like, you pay 3, put a land in the battlefield tapped. Actually, this is search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. So yeah, so it is still tapped. All right, so you play this, you search for a land. So let's say you're at 3 mana, you're now at 4. Next turn, you can gain 3, then go search for another land. So now you're up to a minimum of 5. You could also play a land that turn, possibly still cast something, kill something, and then you start the next turn with like 6 mana. Like, that seems pretty good. So like, yeah, this could be a new ramp spell and honestly still work for decks that want food or artifacts or whatever. So this is kind of cool. High Stride, 1 green, instant, target creature gets +1/+3 and gains reach until end of turn, untap it. We've had versions of cards like this. Generally, they don't see a lot of play. I mean, they seem kind of useful on their face, but generally not. Maybe in some weird world where birds and bats are super annoying and you need more things with reach, I guess. But that's probably about it. 3-tree Root Weaver, a colorless and a green for a 1/3 mole druid. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. This is fine. Like, if you just need a budget thing to get you more mana, you need multiple colors, go for it. It's fine. Jolly Gerbils, what a fun name. Colorless and a white for a 2/3 hamster citizen. Whenever you give a gift, draw a card. This is interesting. I would need to go back and see how many cards actually that we're going to likely play that say give a gift. It is a 2/3 for 2, and getting a card just for gifting is kind of cool. So yeah, I'd have to think about this. This feels like there is probably something playable to do with this. Oh wow, okay, I think that's everything. I think we got through it all. Like, that's all the Bloomburrow cards. So I don't know, I may go back and go do some type of like top picks video from the set. I think we'll have that out in a couple days, maybe favorites in each color. I don't know, I gotta decide how I want to break it up. But other than that, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. Set looks really sweet. All the different creature types look playable. There's also a list I've been working on with a bunch of rotation ready stuff, so that'll be linked. And then if you want more previews, I'll have that video linked as well. And at some point, I'm going to start putting up something that's got some decks built with Bloomburrow stuff ahead of the streamer event, which is happening next Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know, sometime next week. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be live streaming that as well. But man, lots going on. But that's all I have you for now. We'll see you next time.